Hey guys! So today I'm going to do a first impression video on some new Urban Decay products that I recently purchased. I'm going to test out the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Lawnwear Liquid Foundation in the shade 1.0 and then also the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer. And I also got this little mini when I went to the store, and it's the Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. I know this isn't a new product, but I want to try it out because I've never used this before. So I'm going to do a first impression like wear test type video today. I'm going to apply these three products along with the rest of my normal makeup, and then I'm going to check in with you later in the day to let you know how it wears and just let you know my thoughts and kind of give you some reviews on the products. So if you would like to see more, then please keep watching. To moisturize my face, I'm using the Air Repair Complexion Boosting Moisturizer, and then for my under eyes, I'm using the Origins Ginseng Refreshing Eye Cream. So now I'm going to go in with my new primer from Urban Decay. This is their Optical Illusion Complexion Primer. It says it is smoothing with rose hip and argan oil, and it says it is pore perfecting. Okay, I'm on the Urban Decay website right now, and it says that this primer is supposed to reduce fine lines and make pores seem to vanish for a gorgeous porcelain-like texture. And then it says it also helps your makeup go on better and last longer. It says this velvety, soft, lightweight primer has a slight pink tint to illuminate skin pre-makeup, but dries down to a translucent matte finish. Like the name suggests, Optical Illusion creates an optical veil of scattered light, giving skin a soft, focused effect. And it's supposed to give you an airbrushed finish. And it says it dries down to a perfect powdery finish. So basically, the claims say it's supposed to minimize pores, reduce fine lines, it's supposed to help your makeup last longer throughout the day, and it's supposed to also help your makeup go on better. It says it also is supposed to illuminate your skin. So this is what the primer bottle looks like. It's just a really pretty, it's kind of like soft pink color right here with the metal on the cap and bottom. And then it opens up, and then there's like a pump. So I'm just going to squeeze some on the back of my hand. I put about that much on my hand to start with. So I'm just going to apply this primer all over my face. Okay, just applying it right here, I only applied it to this area of my cheek. I could already tell that it is blurring my pores. It's almost like it's filling them in, and it's also helping with the redness and like any discoloration on my skin. If you look at the difference between this side this side looks a lot more like blurred and flawless, I guess. And also my skin on this side looks a little bit more shiny. It doesn't look as matte and like blurred as this side. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see what it looks like up close. So after applying this primer, I really like how it sits on the skin just on its own. It definitely blurs my pores and helps to kind of fill them in. And then also with the redness on my face and any like discoloration, it kind of blurred that as well and made everything look a little bit more even. It does dry to a matte finish, but it does not feel drying at all. It just feels smooth and it doesn't feel oily at all. And it feels like it's really going to help my makeup apply better and last longer throughout the day. So I'm really excited to put my foundation on after this just to see how it wears with actual makeup on top. But so far, I'm really liking how it feels just on the skin on its own. So another new product I'm going to try today is the Urban Decay All Nighter Foundation. I haven't tried this before. I know this isn't really a new product. I think it came out last year. But I've heard so many good things about it, and I was at the Urban Decay store and I really wanted to try this out. I picked up the shade 1.0, and I think this one is supposed to be for fair skin with yellow undertones or warm undertones. I'm going to check on the Urban Decay website. So I just went on the Sephora website to see what this color is described as, and 1.0 is described as fair bisque with a soft warm undertone. So hopefully this one will be good for me. So on the Sephora website, This foundation is described as a full coverage matte finish waterproof foundation that lasts all night. It says that this is completely matte and oil free, and it says that it has a higher amount of pigment than the Naked Skin liquid makeup, so a little bit goes a long way and you do not need to build up the coverage or apply multiple layers. And it says that it diffuses light to blur flaws for beautifully perfected skin while it mattifies and absorbs oil to reduce the appearance of shine. This is what the bottle looks like. I'm sure you've probably seen this before, but it's just a really pretty kind of gunmetal shade on the bottle, and then you can see through, it has like little cutouts and you can see the actual shade of the foundation on the inside of the bottle. And it says shake well before use. Okay, so I'll definitely do that. So it has a little pump to dispense it. I'm just going to apply some to the back of my hand. And it says you only need a little bit, so I'm going to start out with that much. That's not very much. I usually use probably double that. And I'm using my Real Techniques blending sponge. I just got it damp, so it's just a little fatter than normal. So just applying this to my cheek right here, I could definitely tell that it is full coverage. You can see I just put a tiny bit of product there and blended it out, and it definitely looks matte, but it doesn't really look like it's drying. I think that this is going to be a kind of foundation that is going to set pretty fast, so I'm going to try to work in sections so that it doesn't dry too quickly. I only applied the foundation so far to my cheeks, my nose, and my chin. I didn't apply it to the sides of my face or my forehead yet, and just applying it to those areas, it definitely sets really fast, so you want to work with it in sections. You don't want to dab it over your whole face and then start blending because it's probably going to set before you get to the whole face. It definitely is full coverage and it's definitely a matte foundation, but it doesn't look drying on the skin. The Anastasia Beverly Hills Stick Foundation is a matte foundation, but that one looks very drying on my skin and it really emphasizes my pores and any dryness on my skin, and this one doesn't seem to do that. It just gives a really full coverage, like flawless finish. So I'm just going to keep blending this around the rest of my face. That little pump that I used on the back of my hand, I used for those areas of my face. So I'm going to put a little bit more just to apply to my forehead and my cheeks. Okay, so I just finished blending it over my whole face. So this foundation definitely blends out really well with a beauty blender type sponge. This is the Real Techniques blending sponge. It's not the beauty blender, but I'm sure it would work just as well with the beauty blender because this is a very similar dupe for a beauty blender. I really like how this foundation goes on the skin and how it feels and everything. If you're someone with normal to dry skin, I would say you definitely do not need to set this foundation with a powder because it dries matte already, and I have combination oily skin, so I'm still going to set it just because if I don't, my makeup tends to not last throughout the whole day if I do not do that. I really like the coverage that it gives. It's definitely full coverage, but it doesn't look cakey. So I'm going to try a concealer on top for my under eye circles. I'm going to use the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, and I have this in the shade Fair Neutral. I'm going to use this for my under eyes and then just to conceal any other areas, but I don't think I'm going to really need to conceal any other areas since this foundation is so full coverage. So I just finished putting on the rest of my makeup, and I really like how everything applied on top of the foundation and primer from Urban Decay. So let's see what time it is right now. So it is 2:24 right now. So I'm just going to get on with the rest of my day. and I'll check in with you guys a little later on to let you know how well the foundation and primer are wearing towards the end of the day, so I can give you guys a better opinion on how long it wears. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit. So it is now 9 o'clock p.m. and I've been wearing my makeup since around 2 o'clock today, and after wearing it, my makeup has actually worn pretty nicely throughout the day. I do look a little bit more shiny than I did earlier, but I do have oily skin, so I'm expecting that I'm going to be a little bit shiny. I didn't blot my face at all throughout the day, and I didn't retouch with any powder. Usually with other foundations, especially more like luminous or dewy foundations, they will definitely look a lot more oily and greasy and shiny, and they'll break up more by this time of day after it's been like 7 hours. So I think it did wear pretty nicely. When I feel it, it still feels pretty matte, like set. It doesn't really feel too oily or greasy or anything, which is good because since I do have oily skin. And actually, I think that the rest of my makeup that I put on top of the foundation, so my blush, bronzer, and highlight, and then like all my eye makeup, I think it all lasted pretty well throughout the day. So I think the foundation and the primer combined really worked pretty well to just hold all the makeup together, and it all set really nicely, so I'm really happy with it. And then I forgot to mention this earlier when I was getting ready, but I also used the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. I got this as a sample when I purchased the primer on foundation, so I wanted to try this out as well because I've never used this specific setting spray from Urban Decay. I've only used Urban Decay's Chill makeup setting spray before. I've never used the All Nighter one, so I want to see how this compared, and I used it, just sprayed it over my whole face. It seems like it works pretty well because my makeup did seem to last all day pretty well. When I touch it, a little bit comes off on my hand, but not a lot. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this. Bambi, it's okay, honey. And also, this foundation didn't seem to settle into my fine lines or emphasize my pores too much. Sometimes when I wear a foundation throughout the day, by the time it's towards the end of the day, it'll start like settling into my fine lines and showing my pores, and it doesn't look perfect like it did when I first applied it, but I definitely think it looks better than other foundations do. And I think that I could also even improve how long it wears by using the setting spray again. If I was to apply this again, like right now, actually, I'm gonna try that. If you start looking a little bit oily, or if your makeup starts looking a little bit like off, you could kind of touch it up by just spraying this, and it won't disrupt the bronzer and blush and highlight, because that's one issue I have is if I do touch up my face with a setting powder, even if it's a translucent one, if I use that on top of my bronzer, blush, and highlight, it'll just basically erase that, so it'll look like I'm just all one color on my face, and all that like work of bronzing and contouring and stuff kind of goes away. So I think it is better to just use this because then it kind of like refreshes your face without disrupting your contour and everything. Overall, after using the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer and the Urban Decay All Nighter Liquid Foundation, I'm really happy with both of these. I think that they both work really well. I don't really have any negatives for either of them. I really like the coverage, how it's extreme full coverage without looking cakey, and all the products you put on top of it are really easy to blend into the foundation. It holds other products really well. I really like how this ended up turning out. This was, I think, a really good first impression for these two products. I have heard really good things about these products from other people on YouTube, so I was excited to try it out for myself. Again, I have oily combination skin, so it definitely works well with this. I have heard some people try this foundation that have dry skin and they still seem to like it. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I hope that this helps you determine whether or not you like some of the products I used today. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!